In this edition of Southern Newsweek, Queenstown's new water taxi awaits approval at Frankton Beach. An alternative to Halloween is considered to be a success. And Invercargill considers changing bylaws on tattoo parlours. Hello, I'm Melissa Barton. A new jetty at Frankton Beach for Lake Wakatipu's water taxi is expected to be up and running by Christmas, if approved by the Queenstown Lakes District Council. Queenstown's water taxi company says the new jetty will pave the way for the proposed expansion of water taxi services. Mina Amso goes for a ride.
Taking the water taxi on a sunny day is a real treat for motorists who usually drive to and from Queenstown CBD. So we've just left Queenstown at Wharf, and on board we've got 3 passengers and we're heading to the Hilton. It's going to take us about 15 minutes. And Queenstown tourists and residents might be able to get the water taxi from a new jetty out in Frankton Beach by Christmas. Queenstown water taxi driver Stan Jones is looking forward to the new jetty.
Because it'll enable us to pick up everybody from such an easy location. They'll be able to park their cars, jump on board into town.
Jones says the water taxi company is in discussion with local and regional councils over creating an extended and subsidised water taxi service. And he says the new Frankton jetty would be a key location for the expanded service in 2019.
Maybe with provision of some possible subsidies for local customers to use the service, and this is the start of something that's going to expand and it's going to be great.
Otago Regional Council and NZTA are jointly investigating the idea. OIC Support Services Manager Gerard Collins confirmed there's no funding for the expanded service within the current financial year, but he says the council's in the process of creating a business plan which will detail the expanded service.
So the business case is a process where we go through and test the viability, the need and the cost, and then that would be put through the respective funding processes, and that would identify the level of service required if the service was to go in, the routes and locations of pick-up points. So it would effectively define the level of service that might be achieved.
The cost to run the subsidised service would be split 50-50 by the OIC and the New Zealand Transport Agency. NZTA Southern Region Director Jim Harland told Frankton residents last week the water taxi service would be expanded into a ferry network by 2023.
But if you can imagine a ferry which has a glass roof, which you've got a way in which you can get from Collins Airport to the ferry.
There's 3 boats with great carrying capacity, some great skill. We've learnt we're the only operators on the lake, and there's never really been a water taxi such as this service ever. So pretty pioneering, and we would be the best fit thus far.
A detailed business case is expected to be revealed in a few weeks. Mina Amso, The South Today.
A prized possession of Southland truck collector Bill Richardson made its first and possibly last journey from Invercargill's Transport World recently. The Texaco tanker was part of the Southland Truck Parade. Sharon Rees reports.
The 1940 Dodge Airflow, known as the Texaco tanker, is back at Transport World after its journey through Invercargill at the weekend. The tanker is considered to be one of the rarest trucks in the world.
The Texaco tanker is a really special vehicle in our collection. And it's the inspiration for the building. The Art Deco style of the tanker has been taken on into the building itself here. There are only 3 Texaco tankers that we're aware of that are restored, we believe we've got the only one that's actually will operate, is drivable.
The tanker was taken out for a spin in preparation for the Southland Truck Parade, but Baxter says that might be the last time it was seen on the street.
It's a very rare occasion indeed for the Texaco tanker to come outside of the collection, so and that was the first time it had actually been paraded on the streets, so we're not sure when it's ever going to happen again.
But for those who missed the opportunity to see the tanker in action, Transport World has released The Story of Tex, a children's book which celebrates the tanker and its owner.
It's about Bill and his connection with the Texaco tanker from when he was a young fella and used to collect brochures around trucks. And he always really liked the 1940 Dodge Airflow tanker. And later in life, when he was a very successful businessman, he got the opportunity to purchase a tanker, brought it back to New Zealand from America and restored it.
The story of Tex is available from any of the Bill Richardson attractions in Invercargill, but Tex itself will spend the rest of its days at Bill Richardson's Transport World. Sharon Rees, The South Today.
An event billed as a positive alternative to Halloween was held last weekend at Forsyth Bar Stadium. Light organisers say about 5,000 people attended the occasion. Roselle LeBone was there.
The 5th annual Light Party at Forsyth Bar Stadium was billed by Christian church organisers as a positive alternative to Halloween. The event was run by the Acts of Kindness Charitable Trust and community groups. Trustee Grant Hardy says the event is designed to deliver a message.
They're celebrating everything that is dark, and so the Light Party is the opposite of that. It's celebrating what is light and what is good, and as we can see around here, people are happy. This takes more time than my business does. And so, but it's also, I don't mind that, because it's a ministry in itself. It's like, it's a change in how perhaps we do church. It's coming into the community, not bringing in religiosity, but bringing in love.
These children didn't seem too concerned. There were no ghouls or goblins present. They enjoyed face painting and listening to entertainers on stage.
We love performing for the community and just getting the name of our school out there, and just pretty much every time we do a performance other people realise that there's actually dance going on in the city. I think it's awesome. It's such a safe place and everyone gets free sausages.
Anne Hardy says it takes an army of 200 volunteers to get the event off the ground.
We're totally reliant on grants and donations to put this event on. We do have a number of community groups that come along and help us. We have a preschool that come in and run the under 5s area.
So why do they run the event year after year?
I love the love of God, and I know He loves people, everybody.
Light parties are held nationwide. The Dunedin event costs around $28,000 annually, but organisers say it's all worth it to offer something a bit different this Halloween season. Roselle LeBone, The South Today.
The trust behind the Luma Southern Light project has won the Supreme Trustpower Queenstown Lakes Community Award. The South Today found out more.
The Luma Southern Light project is held in Queenstown every year and consists of a wide range of installations making up a family-friendly public arts festival. Local winemaker and Luma Trust chairman Duncan Forsyth said he was stoked that they won the Supreme Trustpower Queenstown Lakes Community Award and that the hard work of the event's volunteers had paid off.
At the festival itself, we have up to about 117 people, all local or newly arrived, who give time, resources, or both to make the festival happen. So in the company that we were keeping, which was pretty amazing, there's so many good things that go underground. We're super happy to be recognised that we're one of the people.
Luma is free to the public and this year attracted 35,000 visitors over 4 days. And Forsyth said the Trust already had plans for next year.
We're looking to change it and give people a new experience, as immersive as possible. But it's not going to be bigger and bigger and bigger. It will be better and better and better.
All going well, Luma will be back at the Queenstown Gardens, Queen's Birthday Weekend 2018. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
Invercargill businesses undertaking beauty therapy, tattooing or skin piercing will need to be registered with the City Council under our proposed new bylaw. The Council is in the early stages of implementing the bylaw to improve health standards. Sharon Rees took a look.
For tattoo artist Heath Sellers, strict health and safety practices are just part of his business, which is why he finds Invercargill's lack of bylaws in the industry surprising. Sellers opened Throne Room Tattoos in Invercargill last year after working overseas and says it's about time the city caught up with industry standards around the world.
It's something that the town needs. A lot of other towns and pretty much every country has them. It's mainly just to protect the public from getting infected and stuff like that. You'll notice that all hospitality and even like hairdressing salons and stuff have them, so We're dealing with bio-waste, so it's really important that you have the right sterilisation equipment.
The proposed bylaw is designed to prevent the transfer of communicable diseases, including hepatitis B and C, HIV and bacterial infections. All of these have been noted as serious issues in Invercargill.
We have had so many inquiries from other people that have had different procedures done, and also medical practices, and also ED services, where we have just been told about different cases being presented there with different sorts of illnesses and stuff.
She says the bylaw would see businesses having to register with the council and have regular inspections.
We can actually play an important part in regulating these businesses on the way they are actually operating their businesses. That is to ensure that we get them registered. We inspect them as often as possible. So we'll start probably with an annual inspection, see how well they are operating, then give them certification to ensure that everything is all good.
Council policy analyst Anna Goebel, who works alongside Rusiki, says the bylaw was received by Council yesterday and a community workshop is being arranged for next month to discuss it further. Sharon Rees, The South Today.
Winchester held its 47th annual rodeo during Labour weekend. The popular event was held at the AMP Showgrounds, attracting competitors from around the country. The South Today was there.
The Labour Weekend Rodeo in Winchester showcased a range of disciplines, including saddle bronc, barrel racing and bull riding. A junior section allowed youngsters to also try their hand at the sport. Spectators enjoyed the action from a grassy knoll, some bringing blankets and deck chairs for the occasion. Dave Marshall from the New Zealand Rodeo Cowboys Association said that while a couple of riders were injured, none of the livestock were injured this time round. The uninjured riders continued their rodeo circuit by travelling further north to Methven the following day. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
Coming up after the break, remarkably warm weather embraces much of the south, and Queenstown Lakes District Library expands its online services. Welcome back. Much of the South Island enjoyed a warm spell over the week. The South Today took a look at a few towns in the region.
Over the last few days, just about anywhere in the southern region has been a great place to sit back and take in some rays of sunshine. Alexandra is renowned for usually being warmer over the summer than other towns in the southern region, but only 26 degrees this morning made it look like it was going to be on par with elsewhere. Mainland Air trainee pilot Randir Arawa from Chennai, India, thought the weather was just right compared to the 40-degree summers he is used to back home.
It's pretty good. I mean, it feels very, very nice, you know. But yeah, at this moment when I came here today, it is a bit warm, but it's fine. It's not close to, where I'm from.
While the Clutha River was still too cold to swim in, a Springer Spaniel Foxy Cross named Rosie was happy to take a dip under Alexandra's iconic bridge. Invercargill thermometers indicated the southern coast was equally pleasant, with people enjoying time out to walk Gemstone Beach near Oropuki, as well as paddle in the shallows near Riverton. The remarkable weather is likely to continue for a few more days to come. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
The Queenstown Lakes District Library has taken its digital capability to a higher level with 2 new online services. The services are a newsreader, platform and an online streaming network designed to give users access to news, documentaries and films. Mina Amso has the details.
It's just become easier for library patrons to read news and watch foreign films online at the Queenstown Library or at home. The library has introduced Beamer Film, an online streaming network with over 400 titles, such as award-winning documentaries and independent features as Japanese film Ants on a Shrimp. Patrons simply need their library ID and PIN to log in. And for those who enjoy reading news, the library has also introduced Press Reader, a global platform where users have access to local and world news, newspapers and magazines like National Post, The Guardian and Vogue. Patrons will have both on and off-site access to these new services, courtesy of Queenstown Library. Mina Amso, The South Today.
Recently, the National Party was found guilty of breaching copyright by using a piece of music that sounded very much like Eminem's track Lose Yourself. We talked to Dunedin television entrepreneur Ian Taylor about what this might mean for video production facilities that use music.
Production library music is music that has been specifically recorded in the hope it will be used in a video, film or television commercial, and that the people using it will pay a license fee back to the people who created the music. Dunedin's Tailor-Made Media, famous for creating graphics for such sporting events as the America's Cup, has an extensive library of such music, including discs by the Australian production house Beatbox. It was Beatbox who supplied the National Party with an instrumental piece of music that sounded very similar to an Academy Award-winning song by American rapper Eminem.
But through your hard work and the National Party's economic management, New Zealand is heading in the right direction. Right now,
the fact that New Zealand's High Court found the National Party in breach of copyright intrigues Tailor-Made CEO Ian Taylor.
This is a real eye-opener for everyone, because we've just assumed that this music that you buy that's royalty-free is royalty-free. And so I think there's got to be big questions asked about the places that are making this stuff, selling it, and telling you that it's royalty-free. And you know, in the end, Eminem didn't sue them, he sued the National Party. So we use this stuff as well. They won't be suing Beatbox, they'll sue us.
Taylor thinks that common sense needs to be applied in choosing production library music, a music that might or might not be breaching copyright.
I think, you know, if I picked up one of these tracks now, what you do know is if you picked up one of these tracks and it sounded like Michael Jackson, straight away, you know, you just listen and go, that sounds like Michael Jackson, then I think this case says there are warning signals all over that. So don't use it, basically. Or, you know, just really make sure that, I don't even know how we get hold of these Beatbox guys, I know we use them here. But I think from here on in, we'll be a bit more careful that we're using music that's generic and it doesn't sound like somebody that we all know.
Rapper Eminem has been awarded a $600,000 payout from the National Party, and he said he will donate the money towards hurricane relief. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
Coming up after the break, the cycle tour of Southland gets into full swing on its second day, and the Dunedin City Council is asked to support a permanent wildlife hospital. On Tuesday, cyclists took on another 150 kilometres for stage 2 of this tour of Southland. Starting from Riverton this morning, riders followed the coast before heading inland to Tiana. Sharon Rees has more.
Cyclists were given another departing haka this morning, this time by Riverton primary school pupils. Day 2 of the cycle tour of Southland then began with a short lap of Riverton. The course took riders along the coast, through Oropuki and Waihoaka, before turning inland towards Tuatapere. Tour leader Roman van Uden says stage 2 can be fairly tough on the riders.
Pretty lumpy start from here in Riverton, all the way to Tuatapere. It's a few big rolling hills, and then it's a slow grind up to Black Mount and a tough 4 or 5 minute climb there. So it can be a pretty difficult day for most of the peloton, yeah.
And he says the unexpected heat during the tour is taking its toll on some of the riders.
We don't come down here for the sunshine, that's for sure. We come down here for the crosswinds and bit of sideways rain and that, but we work with what we got. Yesterday was pretty warm. I managed to hydrate and stay on top of my nutrition and that yesterday, but there was definitely some guys who were cramping and getting pretty salty, but just got to play with the conditions.
4 Kiwi riders, Rion Nolan, Andy Hagan, Logan Griffin and Bradley Leach took a 50-second lead coming into Tuatapere, but were caught by the peloton with about 28 kilometres left to race. Tour updates show Taylor Gunman of Auckland and Kane Richards of Australia made a breakaway in the last 10 kilometres, with Gunman narrowly taking out stage 2. Sharon Rees, The South Today.
On Tuesday, the Dunedin City Council decided against imposing further restrictions on freedom campers visiting Dunedin. The South Today met up with one of the councillors who voted against the proposed changes.
Dunedin City Council voted with a slim majority to continue allowing freedom campers without self-contained toilets in their vehicles to camp at Warrington and Ocean View. Councillor Lee Vandervis believes the proposed restriction on vehicles without toilets was not workable, and he has already been receiving critical emails about the way he voted.
Lee, you are just bloody plain wrong. We don't want these low-grade tourists at all. That's what everyone's saying, FFS, which I think you know what that means.
A few of Dunedin's locals said they didn't mind freedom campers as long as they were tidy.
I think it's just disappointing that the campers that come are leaving rubbish or mucking things up.
I actually don't mind it. It's the few that do ruin it for all the rest.
Freedom campers told the South Today they understood that people not following the rules could ruin it for everyone, but financial constraints were influencing their camping site choices.
It's quite nice to have places like this, and we also go a lot of times to camper van parks, like holiday parks and stuff, but it's kind of expensive, and so after spending 3 or 4 nights on a paying camper, like a campsite, it's good to have a cheap one or a free one like this.
Vandervis says he hopes for a more thought-out solution to the issues of freedom camping rather than an all-out ban on vehicles without toilets.
I have a lot of sympathy with the people who really find that these less than helpful tourists sometimes really do impinge on their lifestyle. And we recognise that it's a serious problem. We're trying to do something about it. A ban wouldn't help, in my opinion. What we really need is facilities away from residential places so that these tourists that are coming anyway can be suitably looked after. I believe that it's the DCC's job to actually provide some facilities in a few small areas where they can do their business, so to speak.
Dunedin looks set for another summer of vehicles without toilets camping along its seaside reserves. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
The Dunedin City Council was asked recently to support a permanent wildlife hospital in the heart of Dunedin. Roselle Labone has more.
Members of the Wildlife Hospital Trust appeared at a public forum yesterday asking for funding from the Dunedin City Council for the next 3 years. The Trust hope to get permanent sponsorship.
We're approaching Council for multiple years of funding, so for the first 3 years of our operation to help us establish and get off on the right foot. We are working on...
Members of the Wildlife Hospital Trust appeared at a public forum yesterday asking for funding from the Dunedin City Council for the next 3 years. The Trust hope to get permanent sponsorship.
We're approaching Council for multiple years of funding, so for the first 3 years of our operation to help us establish and get off on the right foot. We are working on, of course, other streams of funding. That includes other grant funding, corporate sponsorship and philanthropy or individual donations.
A temporary animal hospital, also a documentary series about the hospital, is also in the works. Roselle Labone, The South Today.
This week, Greymouth was treated to the biggest Halloween party ever held in the town. The South Today went to have a look at the festivities.
Over 1,500 children and adults turned up for Greymouth's biggest ever Halloween celebration. As in previous years, the event was held at Heritage Shantytown, where children could ride the ghost train, boogie at the disco, visit a bat cave, or take part in games. The biggest treat of all was the weather. a warm summer's evening helping to draw in bigger crowds than in past years. Rudy Adrian, The South Today.
Other towns also celebrated Halloween with hundreds of ghouls, ghosts and goblins gathering in Invercargill's Queen's Park. It was of course a spooky Halloween event and a popular one at that. Sharon Rees has more.
Heads were rolling at the Queen's Park Stumpery last night. The Stumpery is an artistic feature made from parts of dead trees, which makes for a perfect setting for Halloween events. This year, hundreds of people donned a variety of costumes, from the living dead to the actual dead, and some that were the stuff of nightmares. And it wasn't just children participating, with parents and even animals getting into the spirit of things. Children lined up to roll heads, topple ghost skittles, and blindly make their way around a maze, while others scoured the park for hidden treasures, making for a night of family fun. Sharon Rees, The South Today.
That's all from us this week. You can go online and check us out on Facebook and Twitter, or you can keep up with Southern News via our website, channel39.co.nz. I'm Melissa Barton, and thanks for watching.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.